Good day, everybody. My name is Trevor Pettiford, formerly of Spectrum Bay News 9. Here today to talk with you and have a dialogue with someone very special to me, someone I've known for a number of years, who is now running for the state representative District 5, District 65 position with the state house. Her name is Ashley Brundage. Hi, Ashley. How are you doing today?
Hey, how are
She's doing
you?
good. Good to see you. Good to see you, and good to be here and talk with you today. We're going to be talking about several things today, but before we get to that point, before we get off to that, I wanted to make sure you know these QR codes that are going to be brought up on the screen several times during this dialogue that we're going to have this afternoon. First is to visit Ashley's website. You can see that pop up right here, that QR code there. If you want to visit the website, please click on that QR code or put your camera phone up to that QR code. Also, the next one is making donations. If you're interested in making a donation, then bring your camera phone up and put it up to that QR code as well. And the third one, and last but not least, is to volunteer. If you're interested in volunteering on Ashley's campaign, this historic campaign, then you go to this QR code to put your camera phone onto that, and you can volunteer as well. Now, we're going to be bringing those up periodically throughout this dialogue, so give her much love for that. But today, what we want to talk about today, there's so many things on your platform that you want to bring to the State House, which we're so excited about. But today, specifically, we want to talk about the property insurance crisis that's going on in Florida right now. I think everybody that's joining us here knows about that. If you've owned a house, you know what the property insurance issues are. But Ashley, I thought you might want to run that down to us again for those that might not have a full understanding of the crisis that we're dealing with, but give us just the understanding of what we're facing right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's intense. It's intense out there. And whether you own property or not, you're affected by the property insurance crisis. I'm a renter. I live paycheck to paycheck while running my own company and growing it for the future. And I have to tell you, there's a lot happening in this world in relation to navigating your own empowerment and the cost associated from insurance companies, the legal industry's role in this, and the state House of Representatives and their supermajority. This is literally the reason to blame for why insurance is out of control in Florida. I mean, literally just 3 weeks ago, Citizens, our own insurance company for the state of Florida, has raised insurance rates by 14%.
Wow.
And no one is doing anything about it. And this is really one of the main reasons why I'm running for political office, is because we really want to present a realistic solution to solve a complex problem. I mean, we can't just say, oh, we're going to hold insurance companies accountable. No, we have to actually do more than that. We can't just say that. We have to actually put it in work, and we have to connect it to other elements. And I'm excited to tell you more about those elements.
Yeah, that's what I'm pretty interested in hearing about, is what are some of those elements that you want to connect it to? How do we tackle this problem? I mean, it's a massive issue, but how do you suggest we tackle it, and how do you want to tackle it?
I mean, obviously, the biggest thing that people are going to immediately say is, let's hold these insurance companies accountable to offer competitive pricing. If they can't make competitive pricing for home, then maybe there's a way that they can make competitive pricing across the other suites of insurance. But the real problem, the deeply rooted problem, and why insurance companies aren't being held accountable, is because on the state level, with the supermajority that's happening in Tallahassee, they don't actually have to hold them accountable. And if you go and look and follow the monetary donations that are happening, you'll see who's been paying the money to the Republican supermajority in relation to insurance. And you'll see that those insurance companies that are really winning in this space, they are having record level profits in some cases. And this is exactly why, is because they're literally controlling the legislature to not actually put teeth behind any bill that they do. And so, yes, we have to hold insurance companies accountable is the first part about this. and it has to be behind actually regulation and teeth, so that way they know that the Floridians aren't going to be continued to be taken advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
No one wants to be taken advantage of.
No, definitely not. And from that, you holding them accountable. But then, how do we get? I guess because we have such a limited number of insurance companies that provide property insurance, even here in the state. How do we? Because we know that there's with competition, there are lower prices.
Mm.
How do we get? How do we? I would assume one of those things is trying to get more insurance companies involved in our property insurance. How do we do that?
And so that kind of leads to my second piece to this about the insurance crisis, is that we have to make sure that we give insurance companies a creative outlet to mitigate risk. Now, I had the pleasure of actually serving as a registered investment advisor in the financial services industry.
Mm-hmm.
And now financial services is directly connected to the insurance industry.
Right.
So I literally have real world experience, having been 2 people away from being the CEO of PNC Bank and 60,000 employees. So I operated a budget to work off of surrounding how I built relationships for employees, employee engagement, employee development. But you know what happens is that in those conversations, in those big corporations, they operate how they want to operate based on shareholders. So if you know their language and you know how their relationships work, like I do, this is why I'm a perfect candidate to run in this seat for this race. But also it's about risk mitigation. So for a year and a half, I was a registered investment advisor when I worked in the banking industry. And I know about mitigating risk for insurance companies and for people. And this is also one of the main reasons why insurance is out of control, is because the companies, Florida's a risky place to write insurance policies. We don't have to boil the ocean over. We know we're already doing this with global warming. So we already know this. We've seen that in hurricanes going out, there's the hurricane predicament is always higher. So yes, Florida is going to have higher insurance. But in order to mitigate some of the risk in a portfolio, you have to have other means to mitigate the risk. And we, as a state, haven't really been giving insurance companies the ways, creative outlets to mitigate risk, especially during other times of the year. So while, insurance in Florida probably should be more expensive, July, August, September, October, right, for the peak part of hurricane season. But in the other months of the
December,
year,
January, February, March,
I'm just saying there are much more riskier places in the United States of America that are writing insurance policies, where they have all these winter claims and hail claims and
tornadoes and mudslides and earthquakes.
And earthquakes. And we don't have any earthquakes here. So, this is all about giving insurance companies also a creative outlet. So if you hold them accountable, but then you also give them a creative outlet at the same time, now you're actually speaking their language and you can negotiate better with them.
Now, and I want to ask you about, because one of the things, before I ask that question, we want to bring it up again. If you guys are, again, interested and wanting to get to Ashley's website to learn more, look at this QR code. We're going to bring the QR code back up again. This is the website to get to Ashley Brundage website campaign.
AshleyBrundage.com.
AshleyBrundage.com. There you go. Next and most important, if you want to make a donation to this historic campaign, go to this QR code to make your donation. And also, we're also welcoming volunteers, any volunteers that we can. Please go to this QR code and put your camera on that if you're interested in volunteering. Now, again, we'll be flashing those up again a little bit later, but I wanted to move on asking you about, we were talking about the other regions of our country that the Midwest has tornadoes, especially in the spring and in the fall. We have mudslides during the rainy season out west. We've got earthquakes out west, and there's all insurances for that. Why do we get singled out, you think, for Florida? Why our property insurance issues are such an issue when every region of this country has a natural disaster issue?
I think it comes down to following the money. I mean, honestly, and I know it seems kind of silly as a a former financial professional in a financial services organization. I know how to follow the money. I mean, the money does not lie. It tells you exactly who's giving to the large PACs. It tells you exactly who's giving to campaigns. You know exactly the amount people are giving. So, this is a huge piece to why. This is the why, is know whose pockets are being lined for these campaigns. Like, you'll be able to figure it out pretty easily. And I think the other piece of this is really the third element about insurance too, is that yes, we have to hold insurance companies accountable. Yes, we have to give them a creative outlet to mitigate risk, but also yes, we have to understand that the legal industry has a role to play in this space.
Yeah. Tell me about that. Yeah, the legal side of that.
Yeah. And so the legal industry has this, role here in this space, because I don't know about you, but especially in the Tampa Bay area, you can't drive like a quarter mile and not see one of those billboards on the roadway that says about how much money someone got for
yes.
Right?
Yeah, we're not mentioning names, but yeah, I've seen those.
And somebody else talks about how size matters, and somebody else talks, right? And it's like, oh my gosh, like, and to me, where do you think that $20 billion is coming from?
Exactly.
Yes, the insurance company paid the claim or lost the lawsuit in the court over the slip and fall or the auto accident, or you got hurt on somebody's property, right? Or whatever, right? Yes, they got the $20 billion.
But where'd it come from?
The insurance company paid the claims, right? Hopefully. And even that's a lot of work, right? You had to hire somebody to make sure that it happened because they lowballed you, right?
Yes, they did. Yeah.
Okay. So at the end of the day, guess who ends up paying the $20 billion?
I don't even have take three guesses, and the first you don't even count.
Right. 100%. Yes.
Us.
100%. Always us. It's always us. And it's always usually not just us, but it's the most marginalized of the marginalized identity groups who need the most resources, because everything that happens in our world usually is a trickle down problem that gets to be a higher issue for people who have lower financial stature. So there you go. It's the money, you have to follow the money. I mean,
yes, you do. Yes, you do.
It's kind of silly to just keep saying that, but this is a big part about why I'm running.
Well, I can see why that's such an important part. Now, I want to touch on. We've touched on that. I want to, before we go, we've got a little bit of time left, a couple minutes. I want to touch on some of the other highlights of what you're bringing to this campaign. It's not just about insurance, but you've got some other things that you've earmarked that you want to really fight for. Kind of run those down for us real quick.
So we are also a pro-choice candidate. I have the endorsement from Roos List, and they are actually one of the main reasons why I'm running. They worked hard to recruit me to run for this seat for the State House of Representatives. And so I'm going to be running on a platform of getting the government out of making decisions about people's bodies. Let's get the government into holding insurance companies accountable instead of holding people accountable for how they want to, live their life. And so, yes, that includes access to reproductive health, but then that also includes access to recreational marijuana. I think that's someone's decision for their own body. If they want to have recreational marijuana, they shouldn't have to jump through 50 hoops to get a medical card. They should be able to go to the store and get what they need. And this is big in, obviously there's going to be a lot of PACs that are working against this. Pharmaceutical industry, right, is part of this. Medical industry, they want to understand, right, this is like people's healthcare issues. So sometimes it's a lot easier for them to access this is a healthcare resource. And then I have one other thing. It's not just one other thing. It's a really big thing. I'm also running on economic empowerment for small businesses. This is a
The
huge
backbone. They are the backbone of this country. Small business.
100%. It's the backbone of the country, but also it's the backbone of what I do for a living. I own a small business, and I do business in 9 countries. I do business with municipalities that have programs for empowerment of people. I do business with organizations that help them to provide economic empowerment for small business entrepreneurs. I built a program in Washington, D.C. for economic empowerment for entrepreneurs that then I advised 5 other countries on a similar program. And I can bring my economic empowerment expertise to Florida, to the state house, without them having to hire me and my company, because I'll be elected duly by the state people in the District 65, which is, I think, really powerful. And one thing else I want to say too, which I think is really important, is that a lot of the work that I do is around, I work with destinations and visitors bureaus and tourism agencies. And part of the work I do is helping their community and helping their city to become more inclusive, to sell more tourism and convention visitor business. This is part of the reason why I have a key to the city of Tampa right behind me.
There you go.
Because I sold a huge convention to come to Tampa, and I collected 0 commission, so that way I could give back to my community. And how I was able to do that was because we branded the city of Tampa as an inclusive destination for people around the world to come here and be safe here. And we can't have culture war conversations anymore in Tallahassee, because those things are hurting our tourism business long term. And this is a big part of my economic empowerment platform for small businesses, because small businesses benefit when big conferences come to the area.
And and certainly, regardless of who or what you are, we all spend the same money.
The green.
All money is green, no matter what. Well, it sounds like you bring a wealth of experience and a wealth of compassion and a wealth of energy to this race. So we're really looking forward to that. Before we go, I want to make sure you guys get to see one more time the QR codes that we want to send to you. First, if you want to visit ashleybrundage.com, the website, go to this QR code. More importantly, if you want to make a donation to Ashley Brundage's historic campaign, you're going to go to this QR code.
And one more thing about making a donation is just know that you can donate any amount is extremely helpful. Yes. So if you want, you don't, obviously we would love if you gave $100 or $200, that'd be fantastic. But if you gave $20 or $10 or $5, those are also really helpful for us.
Yes, they do. Little money adds up too.
It adds up because they track donation amounts, donation recurrences, amount of times you donate, and then the number of donors is all tracked. And these are things that are really important. And don't think for a moment that Republican leadership in Tallahassee isn't watching every person that donates my campaign. So if you really want to send a message to the Republican majority, the best way to do that is right here.
I always say it's more important. What is more important? One person giving you $100 or 100 people giving you $1?
100 people giving $1.
That is
not even close.
That's 100 votes. That's 100 votes there.
It's so much more powerful.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And finally, to volunteer, this is the QR code to do that.
And one more note on this: if you're thinking about volunteering, know that you don't have to live in Tampa. Same thing with donating. You don't have to live in Tampa. Anyone from the U.S. who's over 18 can donate a maximum to our campaign of $1,000. If you want to donate more than that, send me a note and I'll send you the link to our political committee. But also, you don't have to live in Tampa to volunteer, because you can phone bank, you can text bank, you can help us fundraise from any city, because I'm literally over the next week, I'm going to be in LA for a fundraiser on Hollywood Boulevard. I have an event.
Really?
Yes.
Can I come?
Yes, of course. And then I'm going to be in Palm Springs Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Oh, really? Can I come?
And then on Friday, I'm going to be doing a fundraiser in Denver, Colorado.
I don't have to go to Denver. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm happy to go to Denver.
Yeah,
I'm also happy to go anywhere else that you think that the message of inclusion should be heard. And that can happen anywhere. So if you have friends that want to know more about how they can help the campaign, this is a good way that they can help the campaign as well.
It's I am so energized about this. I'm so energized about this. Thank you so much, Ashley, for spending some time with us. This is not the last we're going to be hearing from you, and not the last you're going to be hearing from me about her as well. So thank you all so much for joining us here on this day. And remember to vote, because it's not just your right, it's your responsibility.